we're back. This is the Stockwell Eldridge Twin City Radio Real Estate Hour. And we are talking with Robert Routh with I can talk.
That's
with
all right.
Ensuring Success. So I have a question. So
Yes.
if someone's already been diagnosed with cancer, are they able to contact you and get insured? Or is this for people pre-cancer?
So there's a couple different things depending on it, but typically if you've already been diagnosed with cancer, you have to be treatment-free for 10 years.
Okay.
But typically what we have families do, if somebody in the family, one of the spouses contracted cancer, they can still get a single parent policy. That person might not be able to be protected, but the single parent with the kids can be protected. And so that's still a possibility. So we have lots of variations of levels and different possibilities between single parent, couple, or family, different plans. So we have those varieties plus 4 different levels. So we can fit the whole range based on that family need.
So this is, and it's obviously not a fun subject to talk about cancer, because it's so devastating when it affects a family or an individual. But it's kind of like the same thing as pre-planning your funeral. I mean, I work with a conservative group, and they have funeral pre-planners that come in. You can buy insurance for everything, folks. You can buy it for all kinds of things. Where is it most beneficial in your life, or is there a history, or is there some sort of thing? Or I was going to ask Rob about that too. Is there something that you kind of want to say, okay, this is probably something that I should look into? I mean, is there like for general public, or is it something that everybody should have? I mean, or what is your?
Well, one in two men will experience cancer.
1 in 2 men.
1 in 2 men will
That's
experience
insane.
cancer.
Yeah.
I don't want to think. It's mind blowing, that statistic.
I know.
Well, my dad had melanoma.
Really?
Yep.
Well, and like you said, 1 in 2.
He didn't have to have chemo. So
Leading cause of death for men. 1 in 3 women will experience it.
Wow.
And that's number 2 for women, actually, as far as leading cause of death. Heart disease is actually, ironically, the number 1 cause of death for women.
I've
Really?
heard, yeah,
Wow.
I've heard that numerous times. So is there, maybe kind of a silly question, but is there an age limit restrictions? Either maybe you can't purchase it until you're 30 years old, or if you're over 49, you can't purchase it because you're more likely, or anything like that?
No, the age cut, so everything's based on the youngest age of the spouse, and it basically goes 5-year increments. So it starts, at 30 is the first one. So we've had clients as young as 17, 15, individually, just based on their situation, which is a really, isolated incident. But we have, I've sold policies to 58, 59, 64. Our primary, market really is probably within that 30 to 50 range, just because that's when people start thinking they have families and that kind of thing. But our age ranges and our policy ability to cover really goes all the way up through retirement.
And what is
past.
what is an approximate cost? I'm sure it varies depending on your age and your things like that. But
Yes.
are we talking like $500 a month
No.
or $50 a month?
Not even close. Nope. So for a family, for my wife and I, for example, we're on that second level below the elite, so we're on the preferred 4. We paid $126 basically a month.
Really?
And, 20 years we'll get that back, whatever that looks like. But we're covered now as far as us, and as most people, we live paycheck to paycheck like a lot of people, and this would save us. If you have short-term disability, you can't actually get to that until you get past a certain window of time, and this helps branch it as well. So it's just, it can be a lifesaver for families. I don't know what we would do if one of us got sick.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Real quick though, Stephanie, if you have a pen or are not driving, if you want to take this number down, you can call Rob for the actual quote yourself, or email him. He's R Routh, so Rob Routh, R Routh, ROUTH, at insuringsuccess.com, and then the phone number 720-496-5896. 720-496-5896. We'll have it on our Facebook page as well. And, of course, you can rewatch the show if you want on our podcast or on our YouTube channel as well.
Well, I just think, you talk about it. It's, we've talked about, even with, was it last week, we had the health and fitness guy. I mean, I got an insurance policy for my appliances, they're 10 years old. And it's like, okay, the likelihood that, and everybody's like, you spend the money, you pay for it every month. If it breaks down, you end up getting a new one. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. And maybe it's not as a new refrigerator is what? I don't know. I haven't bought a refrigerator lately. How much are they? 800, 1,000?
No, they can get up there, but yeah, they're about 800 to 1,200.
Yeah, and
depending
so,
on the
I buy this maintenance
size.
plan so that, if something
For
happens.
your appliances, but you need.
But then,
your-
but people don't take care of their body. That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. I was
exactly.
like, well, it's the same thing like with, like even planning. We talk about in business, people plan a vacation and they do this and they do that
for weeks.
but then they don't plan anything for their business or they don't budget their money. We both did Dave Ramsey. I'm thinking about doing that program again. But, I always think, people think, oh, it's just extra, or it's not going to happen to me. And, unfortunately, it does every day.
Well, if 1 in 2 men are gonna get it throughout their lifetime, that's insane. My wife is big into food and healthiness and all that, and she sent me this ironically this morning. I didn't know what we were gonna be talking about today, but she said, sent me a text this morning. It said, "Health is the first form of wealth." So think about that. Because if you're not healthy, you're not gonna be doing anything. You're not gonna be making money. I mean, you're gonna be, and then invest in yourself by eating properly and exercising. Basically, is what it says.
Well, it's what they tell you when you fly an airplane, and we tell people you have to take care. And I'm sure I'm not a parent, but I'm sure it's hard. You think, like when you're on the plane, what do they tell you to do? Take the oxygen mask and put it on yourself first.
Yeah.
And then take care of your child.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with your health. I mean, you want to say, I want to be able to take care of my children, blah, blah, blah. Well, you need insurance. You need to be healthy so that you can take care of your children.
Yeah, and if something bad happens, you want to be covered. And Rob, you probably see it more than I only know my limited world experience of cancer and how it's affected people financially from a real estate standpoint. And it's, I've had to sell where we sell the house. And it's owned free and clear. They've worked their whole life to pay the house off. Been in the house for 40 years. That's the asset that's going to go to the children. Mm-hmm. Gone. Wiped away. I think they walked away with $4,000 after it was sold. I shouldn't laugh. And it's not funny. I wasn't laughing. But $4,000 is all they got because it was wiped away because they had been diagnosed late in life with cancer. Hospital stays and all that stuff. There's nothing to cover them. Supplementally, besides whatever the insurance was, I don't know exactly the full details, but the bottom line is the kids were like, what? Because that bill came in, and then they're like, can we even sell this house? Do we have to just give it back? Mm-hmm. And that think about that person, and if you're financially sound, you're told pay your house off, pay it down, and then you own it free and clear, and that's your largest asset. That can be wiped away with cancer, right? I mean, gone.
Well, and it's a good time of year. I'm sure maybe you're probably busier now because you think with the new year planning and so forth. And we talk about if you're thinking to sell, again, there's and it is unfortunate. People get struck with cancer, and that's when they start thinking, oh my gosh, what insurance policies can I buy now? Well, like I said, listing your home after the market, it's too late. All right,
the house burned down. What do I do?
All your other neighbors got their house on the market, or you've been pre-approved. Now you lost your job, or this or that, or I think it just talks about preparation. And I mean, do you do some kind of counseling stuff like that? I shouldn't say counseling, but do you kind of walk people through the plan and the benefits? What does a consultation look like, or do I have to pay to find out about this? Or?
No, so basically I work with a lot of superintendents and then business owners and kind of go through that process and set up an appointment with them to do a 10-minute presentation, and then it's up to the person to check yes or no if they want to see me again personally. So then we go through about a 15 to 20 minute showing them kind of what it is, and then they kind of go through the process. And the application is 5 easy questions. Typically it's no blood test, no.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah. This application is very easy to do. Most people qualify. It's just like you said, if you had a pre-existing cancer treatment or situation that kind of happened. But yeah, the applications are really easy to go through. Just takes a few moments once they've decided they want to do it or whatever the case might be. And then it's just a matter of picking the category that you're in and which level. I just had a conversation with a teacher actually yesterday over the phone. She's been waiting to do this because her husband's a principal, and he's like, no, wait. And, in December, she ended up having to go to the hospital with the gallbladder and get that removed. And we have actually an ICU as part of the plus, and so we would have actually covered that.
Oh,
or
really?
they've been paid that supplemental,
so
but
it's
they
not
waited.
just cancer. There's other things too that cover. Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's what I meant by a counseling appointment, showing me the options and maybe helping me understand. I mean, I'm 49, and and I think I guess it's always resonates with me because I'm single, and so who's going to drive me to my cancer patients? I mean, to my treatments or help me out. One of my niece or nephews is going to have to move in with me while they don't. It's not convenient for them. So I think it's important, to understand, like, should I get this mount or should I get the medium mount, or what else should I look at? And
when we have the specifics, they're really easy. That makes sense, and you just get to decide, and it's quick. I mean, within 20 minutes, you'll be able to decide it for your family if you want to do it or not. And that's, part of what families have a hard time doing is deciding. Well, I got to talk to my husband. Well, okay, typically what happens, and now 2 weeks later, you're taking that chance. And so that's where, that's the hardest part I have, is getting them to kind of.
I do have some other questions too about that family policy. We'll talk about in the next.
So it's something, again, folks, planning ahead, preparing. And even for worst case scenarios, you got to be ready, because all the work you've done and all the money you've saved, just make sure that it's protected. And this is one way to do that, even though it is not, like I said, the exciting topics that we like to sometimes talk about on the show. But we'll be back with more. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
Don Eldridge, RE/MAX Results.